Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKodash, double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all Akim preaching his word in truth and sincerity and in faith. It's the brother Yeshaya from the GMS Plain Tables Camp. I just want to do a quick lesson on, the Sabbath. I pulled up a couple precepts, pertaining to the Sabbath, and Lord willing, this video is edifying. So this is Exodus chapter 31, verse 12. It says, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Yeah, so the children of Israel, which is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, are commanded to keep, the Lord's Sabbath, the Sabbath day. It's not a choice. A lot of Christians will say, you don't have to keep the Sabbath, basically like it's a choice. Some Christians do keep the Sabbath, even though they keep it on the wrong day. They keep it from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. But keeping the Sabbath isn't a choice. It's a commandment from the Lord. It says, verse 14 says, Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. Yeah, so this is the judgment, the punishment for breaking the Sabbath day. It says, everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. Yeah, so if you're breaking the Sabbath, at a certain time, if you were breaking the Sabbath, the punishment was for you to be put to death. So this was a very serious commandment. A commandment that, that if you break, the punishment was death, which certain commandments are like that. Not all the commandments. Yeah, but this was the judgment for breaking the Sabbath. It says, For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Yeah, so on the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to be doing, any type of work, whatever the work may be. It says, 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. It says, Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. Yeah, so right here it says that the Sabbath is a perpetual covenant. So that something that is a perpetual covenant, that means it can't be broken. It's forever. It's everlasting. So there's not an excuse to say, well, the Lord came or the Lord did this, that, and the third. Now we don't have to keep the Sabbath. Now certain people don't believe they don't have to keep the Sabbath because they're not Israelites, which is true. Which the Sabbath was only given to Israel, but you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are commanded to keep the Sabbath day. It says, for a perpetual covenant. It says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. Yeah, so forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. God. So this is Exodus chapter 16, verse 22. It says, And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread. Now, this is talking about when the children of Israel were in the wilderness, and the Lord gave them manna from the sky, which is a certain type of bread that they ate. This is Exodus 16:22. It says, And it came to pass. Yeah, Salaki, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so this is talking about, the Lord giving the children of Israel manna. It says, And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. Yeah, so the children of Israel would go out each day, and gather a certain amount of manna, according to how big your family was. It says, And he said unto them, This is that which Yahweh hath said, Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and see that what you will see. Yeah, so the day before the Sabbath, you're supposed to prepare everything that needs preparation, whether it be, food, if you have certain food that you want to have for the next day so you can eat, so you don't have to cook on the Sabbath day, or whether it be a certain work that you have to get done, you get it all done before the Sabbath day. So preparation, you prepare before the Sabbath day. It says, Bake that which you will bake today, and see that you will sieve, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. It says, And they laid it up till the morning as Moses bade it, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. It says, and Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. Yeah, so Moses told them that the manna would not come on the Sabbath day. Why? Because you're not supposed to do any type of work on the Sabbath day. Gathering up the manna would be considered work, so the Lord wasn't going to give it to them. It says, 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. It says, and it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none. Yeah, so the children of Israel, were hard-hearted from the very beginning. The Lord told them, told them through Moses that there wasn't going to be any manna on the Sabbath day, and you still had some of our people that went out, and still looking for that manna, showing how rebellious they are. Jake is very our people are very hard-headed. You tell them one thing, they do the complete opposite. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? Yeah, so the Most High was very angry, that they tried, at first they didn't believe him that there wasn't going to be any manna, and then second they tried to go and gather the manna on the Sabbath day, which is a day of rest. And the Lord was very, very angry about that. It says, see, for the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore he giveth you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Yeah, so he gave them more manna on the day before the Sabbath, so they can have enough for that day and for the Sabbath day. It says, abide ye every man in his place, and let no man go out of his place on the seventh day. It says, so the people rested on the seventh day. Yeah, so this is giving an example of how, rebellious and hard-hearted our people were. The Lord provided them enough for 2 days, yet they still, they still went out on the Sabbath day and tried to get that manna on the Sabbath day, which would be considered, doing work, and then up here it spoke about how they prepared it, which they would have to, bake it, which requires, cooking, which you're not supposed to cook on the Sabbath day. This is Isaiah. I'm gonna read Numbers first. So this is Numbers chapter 15, verse 32. It says, and while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. Yeah, so this guy was collecting sticks on the Sabbath day, which some people might look at it, it's not really a big deal. The guy the guy probably just needed some sticks, and maybe start a fire, or for whatever reason, that he needed it. It says, and they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. Yeah, so this is after children of Israel were told that they have to, were given the law of the Sabbath, and they're not supposed to do any work. And this guy, chose to break that. It says, and they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation, and they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done to him. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall surely be put to death. Yeah, so the children of Israel weren't, exactly sure what they should do to that guy. They're like, man, in their minds, they might have been thinking, well, it's just gathering sticks. It's not really a big deal. And that's the way of a lot of our people look at the Sabbath day, or people in general look at the Sabbath day. Christians look at the Sabbath day today. They don't look at breaking the Sabbath as a big deal, or not keeping the Sabbath completely as a big deal, which it is a big deal. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall surely be put to death. Yeah, look at the judgment for breaking the Sabbath. That's a very strict and harsh judgment, which is righteous judgment, but it's a very serious judgment. That's not a light judgment, being put to death. It says, and all the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. Yeah, and that's a very hard way to go out, being stoned to death. All them different size rocks hitting you in your head. Yeah, that's a hard way to go out. It's very painful. Not to say I've ever experienced it, but it sounds like it would be a very painful way to go out. It says, and all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died as the Lord commanded Moses. Yeah, so this right here is showing the importance of the Sabbath, and the importance of keeping the Sabbath and not breaking the Sabbath day. So it's not a light thing if it's such a harsh punishment for breaking the Sabbath. Isaiah chapter 58 verse 13 says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, says, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight. Yeah, so you're supposed to turn away from doing your own pleasure, doing your own will on the Sabbath day. You're not supposed to, first and foremost be working, and you're not supposed to go after your own pleasures. Like maybe you might watch, television, watching football games, basketball games, doing anything that's pertaining to your own, flesh. You're not supposed to be doing that. It says, and call the Sabbath a delight. Yeah, so you're supposed to delight in the Sabbath day. This is a day that the Most High has, given us, that has sanctified and has given us, rest from our labors. It should be a very delightful thing to you. It says, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shalt honor him. Yeah, so we honor the Lord on the Sabbath day. Brothers do it through certain things. Through reading, through prayer. A lot of brothers oftentimes make videos on the Sabbath day. You know, it says, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Yeah, so this is a day that's supposed to be sanctified, doing things that are spiritual, that pertains to the spirit and the spiritual aspects, whether it be reading, whether it be fellowshipping with brothers, just pondering on the scriptures and glorifying the name of the Lord, you know. It says, nor finding thine own pleasure. Yeah, so you're not supposed to be doing your own things. You on the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to be watching television throughout the the whole entire day, just watching your favorite binge watching Netflix. Nah. It says, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord. God, yeah, so you're supposed to honor the Lord. The Sabbath day is supposed to be holy, and you're not supposed to be doing your own pleasure and your own will. So this is Luke chapter 6, verse 1. It says, and it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first, that he went through the cornfields. Now this is speaking about Yahweh Shai, our Lord. It says, then he went through the cornfields, and his disciples plucked the ears of corn and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. Yeah, so on the Sabbath day they were plucking corn, which can be which is considered work on the Sabbath day. It says, and a certain of the Pharisees said unto them, why do ye that which is not lawful to do on a Sabbath day? Yeah, so the Pharisees were saying it's not lawful to do work on a Sabbath day. You don't be gathering up food on the Sabbath day. It says, and Yahushua answering them said, have ye not read so much as this, what David did when he himself was an hungered, and they which were with him? How he went into the house of the Most High, and did take and eat the shewbread, and gave also to them that were with him, which is not lawful to eat, but for the priest alone. And he said unto them, yeah, so he gave an example what David did on the Sabbath day, which he ate the shewbread, which he wasn't supposed to be eating. And he said unto them, that the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. And it came to pass on another Sabbath that he entered into the synagogue and taught. And there was a man whose right hand was withered, and the scribes and Pharisees watched him whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said unto the man which had the withered hand, rise up and stand forth in the midst. And he arose and stood forth. Then said Yahushua unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it? It says, and looking round about upon them all, he said unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. It says, and they were filled with madness, and communed one with another what they might do to Yahushua. Yeah, so the point being, Yahushua said that it's okay to do good on the Sabbath day, And, a lot of people, mostly Christians will use this as an example to say, well, basically that you can, to justify not keeping the Sabbath day. We're still commanded, to keep the Sabbath day, but Yahushua gave us, certain liberties, on the Sabbath day. It says in another precept, it says the Sabbath day was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Yeah, so we're given certain liberties. Now, a brother might have a job where he's required to work on a Sabbath day, where he doesn't have an option to, to not work on a Sabbath day. Now, for him to provide for himself, to pay his bills, to buy food, get money, he has to work on the Sabbath day. So, that brother is not being wicked because he's forced in this wicked society that we live in to work on the Sabbath day. You see what I'm saying? So he has to do, what he's got to do to make that money, so he can provide for himself. Yeah, so we're given certain liberties on the Sabbath day. Like, let's say, Yahweh Shai gave, a lot of different examples, you know, but let's say on the Sabbath day, you may be driving somewhere and your car, your tire goes flat. Now you got to get out of the car and change the tire, which is considered work. But for you to get to where you're going, you may be headed home. For you to get home, you have to change that tire, which is considered work. But Yahweh Shai said it's okay to do good on the Sabbath day. Certain things you have to do. It's not an option. Like the certain examples I gave. Now, brothers, if you do have a job which requires you to work on a Sabbath day, you should be, working, try to work towards finding a job where your schedule, is more lenient. Even though a lot of these jobs, they have very strict schedules, no wiggle room, they give you no time off. But Yahweh Shai, gave that example to say that we have certain liberties and certain freedoms as it pertains to the Sabbath day. Now this is Colossians chapter 2 verse 16. It says, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days. Yeah, so you're not supposed to be judging a man because he has to work on a Sabbath day or has to do certain things. Certain things was required, that he didn't have a choice, that he had to do on the Sabbath day, which really is breaking the Sabbath. But the Lord said that he's the Lord of the Sabbath. So he's given us those certain liberties, where, if we have to do something, and that's a part of, that mercy, if we have to do something on the Sabbath day, which would be breaking the Sabbath day, we're allotted to do that. And you're not supposed to judge a man because he's forced to work on a Sabbath day, so he can provide for himself. Now this is 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 16. It says, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of the Most High. Yeah, so we're given, like the example I gave, we're given certain liberties, in this truth, in this faith, but it says not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness. So yeah, we're afforded certain, leeways, you know, in certain liberties. I'm gonna just use that word. Certain liberty. And I got the definition for the word liberty. It says liberty. It says to be allowed to do something. Yeah, so we're allowed certain, certain things that we're allowed to do, on the Sabbath day, But it says not using your cloak of liberty. It says and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness. Yeah, so you don't break, even though we're allowed to do certain things on the Sabbath day, but you don't break the Sabbath day willingly because you felt like it. You see what I'm saying? Somebody might say, well, I didn't have food to eat on the Sabbath day, so I have to, I have to cook on the Sabbath day. Nah, you should have prepared, you know, you should have prepared the day before to make sure that you have food. You knew the Sabbath was coming the next day, not, yeah. So just making excuses, every and any excuse to break the Sabbath day. You might have a job where you basically get to make your own schedule, but yet you choose time and again to work on the Sabbath day, even though you were allotted to make your own schedule. So you didn't have, basically wasn't required for you to work on that day, but you still choose to work on the Sabbath day, basically making an excuse that you have to. If you don't have to break the Sabbath, if it's not necessarily a requirement, for your well-being to break the Sabbath day, you shouldn't break the Sabbath day. You shouldn't be looking for any and every excuse to break the Sabbath, Yeah, so Lord willing, this video was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakadash, double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Shalom, to all I can preaching his word in truth and sincerity and in faith, Shalom.